Who is the biggest star in boxing? Jake Davis. And joining the beach of the game is Miami resident hip-hop star, influencer Ruby Rose.
The talent difference, the experience difference, we understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo.
I thought it was 190. Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him. Yes. He recognizes.
The face-off between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis on Netflix Uncut quickly turned into a heated moment that had everyone talking. The tension was electric as Tank suddenly shoved Jake Paul during their stare-down, proving this fight carries real emotion, not just promotional hype. Moments later, the two traded sharp words, their faces showing a mix of confidence and frustration. Viewers immediately noticed the massive size difference, with many surprised by how small Tank appeared next to Jake. Still, some fans argue that size isn't everything. Davis's skill, precision, and timing could be the equalizer that keeps this matchup unpredictable.
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm gonna fucking son him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You paying me? Are you paying me?
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Facts.
Correct.
Yes. Correct?
Correct. I'm your daddy.
Teddy Atlas, a respected boxing trainer and analyst known for his brutally honest takes, recently broke down the face-off between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis. His attention immediately went to the staggering size difference between the two fighters. According to Atlas, the contrast wasn't just noticeable, it was impossible to ignore. He joked that Davis would practically need a ladder to reach Jake's chin, emphasizing how dramatically Jake towered over him. While Atlas has always preached that boxing is about skill, timing, and determination, he reminded fans that size and reach still matter, especially when the gap is this wide. Drawing a comparison, he mentioned how Canelo Alvarez moving up to face Terrence Crawford still felt natural, since both fighters carried similar frames despite the weight jump. In this case, though, Atlas saw the physical imbalance as far more drastic. He admitted that Davis's explosive power and experience make him dangerous to anyone, but against a naturally bigger and stronger opponent like Jake Paul, the matchup already looks one-sided before the first punch is thrown.
They should also have like the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff. Particulars should be in the contract, but I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, all kidding aside, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but you know, a little different. The size difference was, I mean, it was eye-catching, jaw-dropping. And it made me think, and I'm going to ask Richie, our man here who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm going to ask him, because I know he's an expert in this area, but it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had the face, where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunderlips. He was Thunderlips back there. And I thought I had it right, and it was confirmed to me. It's Rocky.
Greg Hackett, a well-known boxing coach and respected trainer, recently shared his thoughts on Gervonta Tank Davis's mindset leading up to the fight. Hackett expressed full confidence in Davis's mental focus and discipline. According to him, Tank isn't the type to get distracted by outside noise or the media hype created by Jake Paul's promotional team. He knows exactly what he wants and the steps it takes to get there. Insiders from Davis's training camp revealed that his preparation has been laser-focused. Those close to the gym say he's been pushing himself harder than ever, showing no signs of overlooking his opponent. Sparring partners described him as sharp, ruthless, and completely locked in, a version of Tank that's more determined than they've ever seen before.
For you new to do, try to keep you fresh and this and that, keep your name hot. You got to stay in the algorithms. It's just a lot of pressure on fights. And I feel like Tank being at, what is he, 30 years old? And you got kids. See, what people forget about is it come a time in a man's life where he just wants to slow down. You know what I'm saying? We can't all run around like we used to back in the day. I mean, that's tough to do. Sometimes you just want to sit down, enjoy your fruits. And I feel like that could be what he going through. He want to just enjoy the fruits of his labor and enjoy life. And people don't want to hear that because they feel like you got more work to do.
But Eddie Chambers, a former heavyweight contender who later became a respected coach, offered a more balanced take on the upcoming matchup between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis. He reminded fans that boxing history is filled with examples of smaller fighters defeating much larger opponents. According to Chambers, those who obsess over size often overlook what truly decides fights: timing, experience, and technique. He pointed out several past cases where disciplined, intelligent boxers use skill and ring IQ to neutralize stronger, heavier rivals. In Chambers' view, Jake's height and reach may give him an early edge, but Davis's explosive movement and tactical awareness could quickly erase that advantage. He emphasized that fights aren't decided by physical measurements, they're won through execution and composure under pressure. Chambers concluded by saying that while Jake's size advantage is obvious, Tank's precision, instincts, and ring sense could still make him the more dangerous man once the bell rings.
You can tell, you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's gonna get this money for sure, because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games, don't hit him in the back of the head, don't rabbit punch him, don't do any of that stuff, man, because Mike Tyson, first of all, Mike Tyson, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not gonna have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, I don't like the fight at all.
Timothy Bradley, a former world champion turned boxing analyst, didn't hold back in his assessment of the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis matchup. He voiced strong confidence in Tank, calling the fight easy money for the Baltimore native. Bradley's stance comes from the clear gap in experience between the two fighters. He pointed out that Davis has spent years competing against elite opponents who understand the rhythm, timing, and danger of championship-level boxing. Jake Paul, on the other hand, has only shared the ring with a handful of professionals, many of them retired fighters or crossover celebrities. While Bradley acknowledged Jake's work ethic and his role in bringing new attention to the sport, he emphasized that stepping in against Tank is a completely different challenge. In his view, Davis's ring IQ, composure, and timing under pressure make him a far more complete fighter. Bradley concluded that the result will highlight the difference between natural-born boxers and those who enter the sport later in life. Even with Jake's size advantage, he believes the skill gap will become painfully clear once real punches start landing.
Something like this can happen, but this is social media, this is what it's created. There's a lane that Jake Paul has created. Honestly, I'm not mad at him for it. He's gotten a lot of fighters and, actual fighters some shine. It also has done for women's boxing a lot. So I'm not mad at him for what he's been in boxing, what he's created. This is a little crazy right here. This is a little crazy. And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is gonna feel something from him. And it ain't gonna be easy to hit him. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside and out. So there's nothing that Jake Paul can do aside from make it extremely ugly by grabbing him and probably trying to throw him to the ground. I don't know what else, bite him. I don't know, but I mean, the skill level alone. Now, of course, there is a size difference, a height difference, and all that. But he's just going to struggle so much landing a shot. You know, it's just going to look bad. To me, this is the way I see it. It's going to look bad. Tank is going to be too fast. And the punch, I believe, I'm not saying it's going to knock him out or, you know, but it's going to.
Paulie Malignaggi, a former world champion and outspoken boxing analyst, didn't hold back when discussing Gervonta Tank Davis. He criticized what he sees as an overprotected career, arguing that Tank has yet to face truly dangerous opposition or prove himself against the elite of his division. According to Malignaggi, Davis's reputation has been built more on highlight reel knockouts and smart matchmaking than on genuine high-stakes challenges. His remarks reignited a long-running debate within the boxing community whether Tank has truly tested himself against top-caliber fighters. While many fans defend Davis, praising his speed, precision, and explosive power, critics like Malignaggi maintain that true greatness requires risk, stepping up against the best available competition. Despite the ongoing criticism, there's no denying Tank's star power. He remains one of boxing's biggest attractions, a fighter whose talent continues to spark both admiration and controversy across the sport.
You prove your innocence and say that it ain't fixed, because check this out. Tank ain't gonna lose this fight. Hell no. Hell no. Tank ain't losing this fight. Too many holes. Man, Jake don't have enough experience. Yeah, man, it's gonna be taking candy from a baby. You know, Jake is missing the rules. See, this is what happens when you don't grow up in the game. When you don't grow up in the game, man, at a young age, this is what happens. You know, you start reading your own press clippings. That's what Jake is doing. You know, fighting this lower level competition, and now he think he an ish. Now he think he the man. He ain't the man. You kidding me? He is not the man. Oh no, yeah, false sense of security. Now he trying to pick on small folks, right? You know, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Yeah, I'm just saying size-wise. Yeah, that's another thing, boxing one-on-one. You can't pay attention to size. Hell no, I told y'all it's the size of the heart, right? In that damn dog. It ain't the size of the damn dog, and I told y'all that, man. Yeah, it's the same thing here. And it's about the smartest dog. Tank too smart for him. Tank got too much boxing IQ for Jake, man. This gonna be easy. Easy. Like I said, man, Tank, please, man. Don't do this to boxing, bro. If there's anything, man, shoot. Man, we can put together some kind of like account for you, a GoFundMe account or whatever, bro. And we can, all your fans can give you $1, bro. So that way you don't be blowing this fight. It's easy, bro. This sparring section. You know, look, I'm so confused. I don't know what the hell to call this. A circus? Just call it a circus. Yeah, just call it a damn circus. Because, you know, 1 minute they said, oh, this is the...
Recent reports suggest that Gervonta Tank Davis might be considering retirement after this high-profile showdown. Sources close to his camp indicate that Tank's focus has shifted, no longer chasing legacy, but aiming for lasting financial security. The fight against Jake Paul is expected to deliver one of the biggest paydays of his career, and that kind of reward could allow him to walk away from the sport on his own terms. Observers see this as a calculated, practical move rather than an emotional decision. After all, Davis has already captured multiple world titles and built a massive fan base, so continuing to fight may not hold the same motivation as before. Still, fans remain divided. Some believe Tank truly wants to retire on top, while others think the talk of retirement might just be another clever way to generate buzz around the fight.
He's trying to clown people, but then he admits that Tank is the biggest name in Western boxing, so doesn't even make sense. Listen again.
Boxing, either the fans have gone down to the dumbest level possible, or the media themselves have gone down to the dumbest level possible for Nick.
See, so he's already trying to roast the fans and anybody who says Tank's the face of boxing, basically calling people dumb, right? Oldest trick in the book. But then he says, I understand that Tank is probably the biggest name in the West.
Naming this guy as the face of boxing. I understand we don't have anything. The fact that
I understand we don't have anything. Keep listening.
maybe this is the biggest marquee name in the West at the moment.
Right. Maybe this is the biggest marquee name at the moment in the West. He is the biggest name in the West. Name somebody bigger. Right? Point blank, period. So you're off to a bad start. Name calling. Then you're acting like you don't understand it whilst mentioning he's the biggest name in boxing, and you're saying it's disturbing. Why is it disturbing?
It's certainly disturbing, but it also shows you that you can make anything into a
Showbiz the Adult, a popular boxing commentator and YouTube analyst, offered a more balanced take on Jake Paul's boxing journey, acknowledging both his strengths and shortcomings. He praised Jake for breathing new life into the sport, especially among younger and casual audiences who might not have followed traditional boxing before, by leveraging his massive online influence. Jake has turned boxing promotions into major entertainment spectacles, drawing millions of new eyes to the sport. Showbiz credited him for bridging the gap between social media culture and professional boxing, helping the sport stay relevant in the modern era. However, he also addressed the criticism surrounding Jake's career path. Many within the boxing community argue that Jake's matchmaking has been carefully controlled, often avoiding opponents who are equally skilled or naturally closer to his size.
Again, there's nothing wrong with Tank going to get his money, but let's all be clear that that's all the fight is for Tank. He's telling you without telling you that he's fighting Jake just because he's getting $40 million. So when we talk about boxing being dead, Tank has to line up at the front of the line. I can't blame him, but don't throw around, oh, boxing's dead and people switch sides and all of that. You chose not to be great. That's it. You chose not to be great. Stuff like that, choices like that will kill boxing. For sure. On a competitive level, it won't kill it on a business level. On a business level, until people run out of interest in these kind of matchups, it'll do well. On a competitive level, choosing not to fight the best will kill the sport. So maybe it's better if people like Tank aren't in the sport. And I don't even say that because I want that to be the case. I think Tank is ridiculously talented, but you can't want a fighter to fight more than what they want to. You can't. Tank fans or Tank people that like Tank and think he's one of the best, you can't want it for him. And then Shakur came back with, that's how I know you soft. I can't even go back and forth with you soft ass. You rather pop to me on social media than get in that fire and get embarrassed. I get it. Peace and blessings upon you, cuz. He says, the people got your chest out so bad. You talking like you a killer, forgetting that you the one that runs, bitch. I'll be bring the fight to you. This dude, a made-up character. Quote, blessings upon you. Clown-ass dude, wanna be Kevin Gates. Oh my goodness. I mean, here's the thing though. You can't say that stuff about Shakur if you're not willing to fight him. This is the point I think that we're going to come to today, is that Tank can say all this stuff he wants, but if you're not willing to fight Shakur, then none of it means anything anymore. Even if you believe that Tank is going to knock him out, even if you believe that Shakur's a runner, or that he's not in the trenches, or he's not a boxer that's willing to bring the fight, or whatever, none of it matters. You're talking.
Daniel Cormier, a former UFC champion and respected sports analyst, didn't mince words when sharing his thoughts on the upcoming Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis fight. He argued that the matchup feels more like a business move than a true sporting contest. Cormier questioned the reasoning behind the event, pointing out that Tank isn't fighting out of financial need, which makes the bout seem unnecessary from a competitive standpoint. He even described it as boring, not because the fighters lack talent, but because the result already feels predictable. In his view, the fight seems designed more to generate social media buzz and public curiosity than to elevate the sport of boxing itself. Cormier's comments echo the frustration shared by many traditional fans who believe that entertainment-driven matchups are starting to overshadow genuine competition. Still, his critique adds an important perspective that this fight blurs TH.
Boxing is going to sing his praises like a hero. Though Jake Paul is definitely appreciated by the boxing world when it comes to what he is giving to the sport, especially women's boxing. Okay, I mean, it goes without saying that Jake Paul, an MVP, has added to the sport of boxing. But Jake Paul, the fighter, people are over his shit. There's a huge amount of boxing pugilists in the boxing community who's over his shit. And if Gervonta Tank Davis stops that, If he is the one who stops this whole train, knocking out Jake Paul, he will become a boxing hero. People will then say, now get the hell out the sport. And I'm talking about from a fighter's perspective. That's what they're going to say. Now, it's not going to go on either one of their official records because it's an exhibition. But it doesn't matter because optically, visually, seeing that go viral, and I mean go viral, and Jake Paul will never hear the end of it.
We're gonna have to help you up. We're gonna have to help you up. We're gonna see about it. Help you up. We're gonna.
Because Gervonta Tank Davis is not only a real boxer, he's a real boy. He's 5'5". He's a lightweight. Skills pay the bills. Let him knock out Jake Paul, give him Bambi legs, or knock him down. Gervonta Tank Davis, that moment will go viral, and he will be a far bigger, well-known boxer than he is today, and he will also be a hero.